shot.
Nightmare at Theater 9.
He is told that he's in Theater 9.
Horrific Friday.
12 are deceased.
And the guy's just standing right by the exit, just firing away.
Well, he had his hair painted red. He said he was the Joker.
A massacre.
A gunman opens fire.
An AR-15 assault rifle.
You hear the very distinct pop, 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 pop.
12-gauge shotgun.
Started throwing gas grenades.
He opened fire in a theater.
And a .40 caliber Glock handgun.
Crowded with people watching the premiere of the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises.
He just walked right through.
We need rescue inside the auditorium. Multiple victims. 7 down in Theater 9. 7 down.
He started going up the stairs and reloading.
I've got a child victim.
Don't know a motive right now.
I need rescue at the back door of Theater 9 now.
The guy next to me actually got shot. He was there with his two daughters, yes.
Women and children are screaming.
One guy who was on all fours crawling.
He had a gas mask on.
Smoke coming out.
There was this girl spitting up blood.
He came into the right.
Here tonight's entertainment.
Well, hello, you.
Breaking news tonight, we are live. Hundreds crowded to a sold-out Batman screening at the local Cineplex. But when the lights go down, the evildoer is not on the screen. He is in the theater, overloaded with guns and ammo, including an AR-15 assault weapon, a 12-gauge, and multiple Glock 40 calibers, dressed in solid black, gas mask, full body bulletproof gear. At this hour, 71 confirmed shooting victims. 71. The body count in limbo. As we go to air, dead bodies still exactly where they fell. Gunned down at the movies. Eerie words from the killer, a PhD candidate in neuroscience, quote, "I'm the Joker." We are taking your calls straight out to Nia Bender, joining us there in Denver. Nia, what's the latest?
The latest right now is trying to figure out exactly how they're going to disarm this man's apartment, which is in northern Aurora. And he made it clear to them when they arrested him that he had explosives at his apartment. Oh boy, he wasn't kidding. He's got a very intricate set of incendiary devices as well as chemical devices, and they're all rigged to tripwires right now. So everybody's been on the scene today trying to figure out exactly how they're going to approach that.
Susan Candiotti, CNN's national correspondent, also joining us. You know, this was a midnight movie screening of one of the biggest blockbusters in movie history, The Dark Knight Rises. But the reality is, Susan Candiotti, the shooter had plenty of time. The gunfire didn't start till, we've got estimates, 15, 20, 30 minutes into the movie. He had time to look around and see who his victims were. He knew they were largely teenagers. Even a little baby, one of his victims, Susan Candiotti. How did it go down?
A 4-month-old baby, as a matter of fact, Nancy. Yeah. And not only did he have time to look over people in that theater, he also obviously had time to plan all this, to set a booby trap up in his apartment, and to plan out, allegedly, exactly what he was going to do. So, sources tell us, and police tell us, that when he got to the movie theater, first thing he did was, like everybody else, he bought a ticket. He goes inside. He goes to an exit door and props it open. And then they say he gears up. He puts on all that body armor. He gets his guns ready to go. And then they say he starts to open fire. Yeah.
Susan Candiotti, nobody noticed a door propped open with somebody out in the hallway putting on full body protective gear and loading up with an assault weapon, 12 gauge for Pete's sake. How do you hide that? Nobody noticed a thing?
Well, we're still trying to find out from witnesses what happened, but we know this, Nancy. He parked his car outside, so he came in possibly in the back. We're not sure where that exit door exactly was inside that theater, or how far he had it propped open. We're left to wonder at this point, was it just a little bit so that no one was able to notice it, or they were so focused on this film? Because remember, it happened about 15 to 20 minutes into the movie when he started firing.
Well, I just don't understand how nobody noticed anything. To Gene Casares joining us. Gene, did he come in dressed in solid black? I mean, how did he get all this gear in? I know his Honda was parked out in the parking lot, but what, did he go out to the car and get it and bring it in? Nobody noticed? Can anybody just come in a back door to the theater and open fire? 71 shooting victims, Gene.
That's right, and obviously the door was open, that exit door, to go out and to prop open. You know, Nancy, information is coming in as we speak. Something we're just learning here is that when he left his apartment to go to the movie theater, that he left on very loud techno music, and so authorities are saying what they believe his intent was that it was so loud to disturb all the other neighbors in the apartment complex that someone with a master key might go in to turn it down, and they would have been another victim. Of course, that didn't happen, but now days and weeks to undo that system he had in his apartment.
Explain that again to me, Gene Casares, because it's my understanding that he left his apartment there near the university. Everyone, a PhD candidate in neuroscience, this guy apparently leaves his apartment totally booby-trapped, so when police go in there to search, it'll blow up on them. It could blow up the entire apartment complex. What do you know, Gene? I understand cops. Give me that video, Liz, of cops putting cameras up the side of his apartment to look in before they send in the SWAT team so they don't blow the whole building. What do we know about that, Gene Casares?
Well, what we know is that in regard to music, he left loud, blaring music going on when he left that booby-trapped apartment. And law enforcement believes the purpose and the reason was to lure somebody in to turn the music down, and they would have been blown up. But as you can see, law enforcement and federal officials, much too smart for that. There they are on the outside of the residence, looking in to see exactly how they start to undo all the wiring that he allegedly did.
Joining me right now, a neighbor of the suspect, the movie theater suspect, Ben Lynn, is with us, joining us from Denver. Ben, thank you for being with us. So what does it feel like the morning after to know one of your neighbors is allegedly a mass shooter and had his apartment booby-trapped, so all of the neighbors could conceivably go up in flames when police came in the door?
I mean, I don't really know what to think. At the moment, I just feel kind of numb to the entire situation, you know?
What are you learning there in the apartment complex about this guy? What has been observed, if anything? I mean, apparently nothing really stood out before this shooting.
I mean, from what I never actually had met him, or like actually, I think I might have saw him in passing once or twice. But, I mean, he might have been going to his car. I might have been just walking to school. I never actually, you know, like, had any conversation with him. But I guess one of my other, like, floor mates, you know, one of my other apartment mates that lives on the same floor, he said he tried to say hi to him one time, but he kind of just dismissed him and brushed him off and didn't really respond. So I guess, I mean, somewhat of a recluse.
A recluse. Susan Candiotti, we're speaking to one of the alleged shooter's neighbors there in that apartment complex. Those apartment buildings almost exclusively university students. This guy, a PhD candidate in neuroscience, you know, he is no dummy. I know exactly where the ultimate defense is going to be headed, but he went to great lengths, Susan Candiotti, to amass all of this gear, to prop the door open, to have everything out in the car. He assessed his victims, and apparently when the movie is on, you know, all the previews end and the movie starts, he comes up the front. It's like a stadium type amphitheater movie, you know, that goes upward, and here he comes with all of his weapons as everybody is watching the movie. They're all watching, and then they see him coming up with the AR-15 assault rifle coming up as they're all watching. Apparently a lot of the people thought this was some hoax, that it was part of the show.
They did. Well, one of the first things that happened was he set off a canister that was either a smoke canister, a flash can, or something with tear gas. So, yeah, you're right. A lot of people in there said, we thought this maybe was part of the deal. And, you know, some people were even dressed up in costume, and they thought, well, maybe someone was dressed up, and maybe that's why he didn't stand out, Nancy. But all I know is that there was a flash, and the next thing you know, The weapon started firing. He started shooting. They said it didn't look like he was aiming at anyone in particular. He just started shooting. One witness described he first shot into the ceiling and then lowered his weapon and shot him into the ground. And also, we learned this. He bought those weapons, according to our law enforcement source, in May, June, and July. He was the purchaser. He bought them legally at some area stores there, right there around Denver. 3 different stores. And they're looking at videos now to see whether they've got him on tape doing that as well, Nancy.